Hi everyone, CameraGuy and I are so excited to be here in Maryland at Gary and his wife Angela's house at the Rusted Garden Homestead. Gary, thank you so much for having us. This is so much fun.
Thank you for coming to the East Coast.
Let's take a tour. Gary's going to show us around and tell us a little bit about how he started his brand new garden here.
Okay, well I started here, and if you go all the way around you'll see the picket fence is up. And the whole idea is to create outdoor rooms. And this is the kitchen garden, some basic greens. I planted in strawberries, raspberries, and it's kind of a holding place for them to develop, get established, and I'm going to move them throughout the yard. And if you come right up here,
that'd be great.
One of the things that I'm working on is kind of keeping this an edible landscape. So rather than using kind of ornamental bushes everywhere, I put in blueberry plants. I probably have 25 blueberry plants throughout the whole throughout the 2 acres, strawberries, so that whenever you go around or you go to different places, hopefully at some point there'll be food that you can eat. So we can come out here, we can grab fruit for breakfast, we can grab some greens, and that's going to transition over to tomatoes and stuff for just the kitchen.
So right here outside your back door, you have it all at your fingertips.
It is, yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
So why don't you take us back there and tell us what it looked like before,
right,
and then show us what it looks
well,
like.
Well, before it just was grass, so it was good. So it's a perfect blank slate, yeah.
Wow, this is so cool. I love it.
So this is the main area. It was all grass. And the first thing I did, I think maybe in February something, I came out, I looked to see where the sun was. And the sun actually tracks this way. So it's a full southern exposure all the way around, gets the 8+ hours of sun.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect spot for the garden then.
It's a perfect spot, and it'll get sun from different angles too, so which is nice because I can set that up. This was an original tree that was really tall. You can see how old it was. The farmhouse, again, you know, is an older farmhouse, and this was, I think, one of the original trees, but it died. So this is kind of a memorial to the tree. I left the cut lumber down, and this is going to be a butterfly garden. And part of, again, what I'm trying to do is keep that edible landscape. So we have 3 different apple trees, and we have artichokes in here.
Nice.
And this will be a place you can go ahead and, you know, pick something, you know, to eat.
There's the artichokes, the apple trees, and you could just sit here and relax and enjoy the butterflies and have yourself a beautiful piece of fruit.
And it's starting to come in, and it brings in the good pollinators too. Like I can see something
right
over there.
Oh yeah, there's a couple bees and butterflies.
Yep. These are 3 different apple trees. If you're looking for an apple tree, that is, I wanted to say Fiji, but that's a Fuji apple tree.
Okay.
It's really good with disease resistance. It's not getting the disease these other 2 are.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
it's a good apple tree to put into your garden.
And did you say your house is, what year was it built?
This was built in 1867.
Wow. So 100 and however many years that is. I won't try and do that math there on camera, but over 100 years old.
Over 100, yeah.
Oh my
150,
goodness.
something like that.
And there was no garden here before at all?
There was nothing. Okay. So as I was been digging, I'm finding, you know, examples of the old garden that was here too, because I can tell by the different soil in there. But my wife and I set up this area. These are goji berries along in here, deer-resistant plants, and it's the first year is kind of a test run to just see what the deer, rabbits leave alone and see what I can kind of get established. So this is going to be the main garden area.
Okay.
In the future, we may put in a goat pen or something over there, but I want to kind of go slowly as I build up the property.
This is going to be so pretty once it's all filled in with berries. I can just envision it. You can come out here, pick your raspberries, your strawberries, you've got berries along here. How fun just to be able to step outside your back door.
Yeah, and there's actually a tomato that seeded itself or came from somewhere growing in there.
Oh yeah, right here.
Yep. So I'll let that go, see what happens. But that's the whole idea. So you would come out this way through the gates.
Here, before we go and look at the main garden, tell me what kind of your overall general concept of creating the garden space here was.
So the main idea was, again, to really create the edible landscape and to have different rooms that extend from the house, and then you can just go out through the 2 acres. And you have a place to sit, something to see, something to eat, something to enjoy. And that's kind of how I'm building it, working my way outward.
Okay, great. I can't wait to see the big garden.
We can go.
Okay, let's go take a look.
Okay.
So Gary, when did you start building your garden here?
Somewhere around April 1st. So the construction, it's been about 90 days trying to take this from grass to the garden.
Oh my goodness,
yeah,
that's not
almost to the day.
Not very long, and you've done an amazing amount of work in that short period of time. I enjoy it.
It's relaxing.
Oh my
and good
goodness.
exercise.
It's so cool to see what I've seen on videos, to actually see it in person. Wow.
So here's the main entrance going in with the different trellises.
Oh, I just love the view, like right there down the middle, the arches and everything.
And everything's coming in real nicely.
Wow, this is beautiful. Look at the galvanized buckets here.
17 gallons. And I've been setting up this garden kind of as a teaching area too. So it does what I need, you know, for my needs, but people can come in and kind of pick what works, because some people may want to just kind of work into containers.
Nice.
And these containers are galvanized. They're not like the plastic where the sunlight's going to degrade them and they're going to be gone in 2 or 3 years.
Be super sturdy.
Super sturdy,
Yeah.
holes drilled in the bottom.
Nice.
And I'm growing tomatoes, zucchini. I just put in rosemary, the peppers.
Wow, these peppers look great.
Yeah, they're doing really, really well. So if you just have the room for container space, you can do that. These are repurposed pallets.
Perfect. And this is like probably what, a 6 by maybe 2 or 3 foot wide?
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4 feet by 8, and that's kind of what all the beds are. And again, this is designed so that if you get in from any side, you can reach in. Like, so you don't want it to be 6 feet wide where you have to walk through all this. You
Okay.
can just reach in and tend it however you want
So
to do
even
it.
on a little I mean, this could easily be an apartment balcony or a patio.
Yep.
Someone can grow their own vegetables. I mean, you've got a ton of stuff growing in here.
Yeah, and I think they'll do well. So, you know,
great.
you just want to use a water-soluble fertilizer, whatever you want to choose or whatever you want to use. Use it regularly, and the plants will do really well.
And these are your, I know you just did a video on these ladder trellises. I've never
Yep.
seen that before.
Home Depot,
It's pretty neat.
and they have lots of purposes. As we walk around, we're going to see different uses for, you know, the trellises and stuff like
great.
that. And this is a cucumber. That's an Armenian cucumber growing in there too.
Wow.
So, and everyone asked me, what are the cups for? They were transplant cups. So as soon as I
Okay.
mark my stakes, I'll remove the cups.
Okay.
Because I'll forget what's
So you grew
growing
them
in there.
from seed in the cups and
In
then
seed, yep.
transplanting them here in the garden. Now, why do you have it raised up here on these pallets?
Just because I don't want to throw it away. So it's
Okay.
just repurposed, and I just raised it up off the ground a little bit.
A little more airflow, maybe drainage.
And kind of an example that if you had to grow on concrete or on a balcony like you were saying, you can just drop these containers right wherever you want to do it. And
Keeps it
it's
simple.
plenty of soil, yeah. 17 gallons is really good, because there's 4 actually. If you look in here, there are weeds, of course, but there
Wait,
are...
you have weeds here?
Yeah, a little bit.
The Rusted Garden has weeds? I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
That's good for you. It's good for the plants. So 4 pepper plants. So you can grow
Perfect.
pepper plants more densely than we were told.
Grow a
So
lot
4
of
plants
food
will do
here.
really well in there, yep.
So spinning there on the other way, I see you have more galvanized containers here.
Right, so this is something if you wanted a raised bed look. The bottoms are cut out. A lot of people
Oh, really?
ask that question. And you can find these online sometimes. I got mine at Tractor Supply if people are looking for it.
yeah.
What's interesting is I use different methods of filling up these containers. And this one, for instance, this is all shredded hardwood in here. There is no
Really?
soil
The whole
whatsoever.
thing, huh?
Yeah. And these plants I just put in, you can see that they're a little bit yellow, but they're good to get water-soluble fertilizer. That will help them establish.
So it's all mulch all the way to the bottom.
All mulch, yeah.
Oh my
And the
goodness.
key is, a lot of people ask, it has to be the shredded hardwood. You don't want the big
Okay.
chips, because this will break down quickly. But to get this going, the first round, there's more blood meal in there because of the high nitrogen content, more organic fertilizer, and again, like the containers, it gets the water-soluble fertilizer. But you can see,
Look at these tomatoes. These are incredible.
yeah, they're doing
Oh
really,
my goodness.
they're really well.
Wow, that's amazing.
And this is one of the first plants that I put in there.
These are huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's even fallen over there. So
Oh
we're
my
gonna have
gosh,
to,
you're gonna have ripe tomatoes before you know it.
Yeah.
And the peppers, look at these peppers.
Yep. So this pepper and this tomato went in first, and the squash plant there is huge too.
Oh my gosh, that's doing amazing. I never really knew you could grow in just pure mulch.
It's an experiment,
Yeah.
but it's working.
Hey, I always say experiment in the garden, so.
And then this one is a combination of mulch, then basically any kind of raised bed soil, and then more mulch on top of there.
Okay,
And
so
then
you
just
layered it?
Layered it.
Okay.
Yep. And just kind of worked my way around. These are fire rings. Like, so I kind of go to Home Depot, Lowe's, different places, look online, Amazon, Tractor Supply, and find things that are already made. They're a little bit cheaper to buy that way. If you're buying like a fire ring, that's usually less expensive than if you're buying a garden raised bed.
Okay,
So,
wow,
and
great
it
idea.
works really well.
And these peppers are humongous.
Yeah, these
now,
are-
is this the layered garden soil mulch, or you just mulch on top here?
This
or what?
one, you know what I forgot? I can tell you in a second. This is mulch and topsoil.
Okay.
So underneath of here was the topsoil mix, and then I put 2 or 3 inches of mulch on top to keep it keep the moisture in and stuff like that. But they're doing really
Oh my
well.
gosh,
And
these
it's,
peppers are huge.
yeah, and it's 4 pepper plants packed in there. These actually all America Selection winners.
Great.
And
Look at these guys. Oh my gosh.
yeah, they're going to be ready in about
What
a
variety
week.
is that? Do you have it on the stick here?
It should be tucked in
Oh,
there
it's back
somewhere.
in there.
Yeah, let's see what it is. Eskimo maybe?
Yeah, Eskimo. Yeah, sweet pepper. Wow, that's
Yep.
humongous.
And then mixed in too, right to the left, is a bunch of different marigolds and flowers, because I always try and have flowers here to bring in the different pollinators.
And it's working really well because there's a ton of butterflies and different kinds of pollinators buzzing around. So
Yep, they're all
what
coming
you're
in.
doing is really working here. What's over here, Gary?
This is another fire ring, and this is all shredded hardwood mulch. These were seed potatoes that I dropped in.
gosh.
So these are all potatoes, and here on the East Coast, these are actually started a little bit later than I normally do, but they're doing well. And when they turn yellow and start to die back, that's when I'll go in there and dig up the potatoes. But again, shredded hardwood mulch, no soil in there, and you can see that
Those
they're
are
doing
going
really well.
crazy.
Yeah. Tomato tower, I've got about, I don't know, probably 12 different tomato plants in here. This is the Tiny Tim.
Oh, I love Tiny
Yep.
Tim. My favorite.
Tiny Tim up top, and you can see they're
Oh my
looking pretty
gosh,
good.
there we go.
Tiny Tim,
Perfect.
a patio variety in here, and then some
beautiful.
indeterminate varieties, which I'm growing low, and then as the vine gets bigger, I tuck it into another pocket and let it root out.
Ah,
so
perfect.
This is kind of an experiment too, just to see how
love
it
it.
goes.
And it's a perfect way to grow a lot of veggies in a little bit of space by growing vertically. I mean, you probably have, how many tomato plants would you say you have in there? Like 15, 20?
Probably 12. No, yeah, it's about 12
Okay.
plants in there. And I wasn't sure how well it was going to do. So the determinants will die out soon, because that's what they do. And then the indeterminates I'll keep moving upward and see how long I can get them
Oh,
to go.
great.
And you can see they're a little beat up. Watering can be an issue because they're doing so well. So you just got to stay up on it. And they wouldn't look like that if I was watering a little bit better.
Well, I love how you're experimenting and trying different things. I mean, this is definitely the place to do it. You have the space, so why not? See what works, and then you can make adjustments as time goes on.
Yep, I really enjoy it.
So Gary, now is this kind of like a transition to a different like room, like you were saying?
Yeah, so kind of a room within a room. So
Okay.
this is more for the containers. And then these are just your standard raised beds or just raised gardens that I like to frame them out.
Okay.
It's easier to take care of. The peas are dying out because it's getting warm.
Yeah,
and
I
the
hear ya.
Asian green beans are starting to come in, which are delicious.
Nice.
You know, they get sometimes 2 feet long.
Wow, those are really long.
Yeah, so that will continue to grow over the season really high. So we'll
You know what
trellis
I
that up.
like here? Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
I
Go
like
ahead.
how you're kind of staggering your planting. Like
Yeah.
I always try and encourage people to plant something so you have something coming in when one crop is dying.
Exactly,
Which is
right.
exactly what you're doing here. It's a
Yep.
great example of it.
It will replace what is fading away.
So you don't have an empty garden bed.
Yep. And then these are my cool weather crops, Swiss chard,
Nice. Oh, it looks beautiful. Wow, look at those big leafy
and it's
greens.
doing really well.
beautiful.
Going into different kinds of beets.
Oh my gosh, look at these beets.
Round beets. There's a massive
huge.
one. Yeah.
Look at that.
So there's the cylindrica and then the round beets too.
Oh, okay, got it.
The biggest beet, I don't know if we can get to it.
Beautiful.
It's right in that far right corner down there. It's pretty cool. It's huge.
Oh, way over there.
No, right straight down in there. See it? And if you get the beets in early when it's cool, because they can take a little bit of frost, they're going to get huge come the end of June, July.
Oh my goodness,
Just-
look at that beet.
Yep.
I've never seen one that big.
Yeah, and just keep them watered and they'll do really, really well.
That's beautiful.
Yep. Dropped in a bench. I think it's important,
nice.
which I know you do with your
Nice
coffee
overhead.
talk, is to
Yeah.
just be able to come in, sit down, look what you've accomplished, listen to what's going on, listen to the birds, the insects.
It's amazing once you slow down what you see, right?
There's so much going on in here. So you get to eat it, but also enjoy it for what you're accomplishing. And it's good for the mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Asparagus behind you. And that was actually the first crop that I put in. Crowns all the way down, and you can put string on each side and just drop in T-posts all the way down. And this is nice and secure so that the asparagus doesn't fall over into the ground. So I'll just build that up this way. The asparagus ferns keep growing upward.
Nice.
Again, I know you know this, but just in case you're growing asparagus for the first time, is don't harvest it the first or second year. Let the roots establish. And you can see, if you look down here, an asparagus popping
my
ground.
gosh,
So
look
that's
at
the size that
that.
we harvest it, but we're going to let it grow. But if you let asparagus go, this is what it turns into, and a lot of
my
people don't know that.
goodness. I've actually never been able to grow asparagus because I don't really have the space to leave a crop in for a couple years like this, but this looks
But
gorgeous.
it kind of ferns out, and it's pretty. So
Really,
that was
very
the first
pretty.
crop. And behind there are potatoes growing in containers.
And would you eat the leaves?
You can't, you cannot.
You cannot?
Maybe you can. I never tried it, to be honest with you.
Kind of looks
No.
like dill a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what it would taste like. But you want the sun, you want as much growth for the first 2 years so you get really massive root systems established.
Okay.
And then you'll get the nice spears coming up and you can harvest them.
Beautiful.
Yep. My container garden, this is another option if you want to think about growing in different ways. These have all been repurposed containers from my fruit trees that I put on the property, and my friends and neighbors now will save them, give them to me. The bottoms are cut out.
They know you now, huh?
Yeah. And this is actually, I think, I don't know, let's just say 20 containers
Oh my goodness.
and 40 pepper plants just grown in a straight
Wow.
row, which is a great way to get a whole lot of peppers in a little bit of space.
You've got a ton packed in here.
Yeah.
Now, what's the purpose of sinking them down into the ground a little bit like you've done?
So that you water less, so the
Okay.
bottoms are cut out, it's sunken into the ground, the root systems will grow into the ground. I actually have 2 peppers in each of these. So this container, again, like I was saying in the other place, there's 2 peppers in there,
Okay. Yep.
2 peppers in there, and you just drop them in the ground, the root systems get into the ground, and they do extremely well this way. And it's like a mini
Nice.
raised bed.
Yeah.
You know, it looks nice. Peppers like the heat, so the black pots help heat up the roots. And when you're taking care of these, rather than having to put fertilizer like through here, you can just concentrate it right in here. When I water, I just fill it up to here. Water goes right to the root system, and you're not watering and feeding all around it.
Nice. So that may be one reason why they're so big, because it keeps everything contained
Yeah.
in one little spot. And it's inexpensive too. You don't have to worry about building raised beds.
Yeah, and when we get to the other side, they were planted first. You're going to see all the different peppers
Oh my
on there.
goodness.
So this is my another example. This is just a 4-foot by 4-foot
Uh-huh.
raised bed. 3 zucchini plants, squash, zucchini, 1 tomato plant. This is plenty for a family of 4 if you want squash and zucchini. You might notice the white dust.
Uh-huh.
Dust, if it's organic or if it's chemical, it's an indiscriminate killer. So it's going to kill good insects and bad insects. It doesn't know the difference.
Okay.
So when I use it, I put it on a couple of leaves. That takes care of cucumber beetles and beetles that run around. And then I put it on at night when the good pollinators go in, and then I wash it off in the morning. And you can say I missed a
Okay,
little bit. That's been
nice.
wet, so it's kind of neutralized. I also put it down right at the base. That's the only thing I found here on the East Coast that stops the vine borer from getting in.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I get asked that question all the time, and we don't have vine borers.
Yeah.
So that's what you do. You put dust down at the base then?
Yep, and
Okay.
you know, you hope you don't harm any other plants. What I do is, you can see the flowers have been removed. I removed most of the flowers, so the dust stays down here. This one actually got broken off in a storm. We had a tornado here not too long ago. So this should be much more massive. Maybe like this one over
Okay.
here. And you can see the dust goes right down there. The flowers are up here, the fruit's up
Got
here.
it.
And that will take care of the vine borer. And this plant's doing really well.
That looks great. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love how you have different types of trellises, and it looks like you've got a bunch of them right here. So tell me a little bit about that.
Different designs. And again, I like to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, different places, and look to see what's available that you can use in your garden. These are about $12. They're 10 feet
Oh,
tall,
wow.
and this is what you put in your closet. They will last
Oh my goodness.
good 5 or 10 years. I had them in my other garden. These are brand new. If you don't want to pay the $10, you can find these at thrift stores. You can find them at stores that are closing out. They're almost giving them away. And they're just secured with two
sturdy.
stakes right in here. And it's going to take 2 cucumber plants
Wow.
straight up the top. And you can see all the well, we got to pick those.
Huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at those.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we should.
You know what? This is an example of a full sun garden, because I get spots of shade during the day. A lot of my trees are growing in,
Let's take
and
these.
my cucumber plants aren't near
Yeah.
that big. Wow, we got a little harvest here.
Yeah.
Maybe for dinner?
Yeah.
For
So
barbecue?
we'll grab some tomatoes. We'll make cucumber tomato salad.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
And I've also packed a lot in here because we're growing vertically. We can get a lot more into here. Let me just
You
put
have
these
a
down.
ton in here.
Yep. Now we have the watermelon.
Oh,
Over in that
melon
left
here.
corner.
Oh my gosh, look at this melon. Jerry, look at this. Camera guy, get this on camera. I don't want to knock it off on accident. It'd be terrible.
yeah. No sabotage.
Yeah, right.
And there's one below it too.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even see that one hiding under there.
Yeah. And so they're going to have to get supported with some sort of netting or something, and I'll do that in a little bit.
I've used pantyhose. That works good.
Yep, that's what I'm going to think about
And here you have a
using.
very simple trellis too. It's just twine and a couple stakes.
Yep, and I get
poles.
those again at Home Depot or Lowe's. They're called 1x1s, and they're like $3 for 8 feet. Those have been cut back.
Wow,
and
this
then,
is beautiful, Gary.
Yeah. And then and you don't, like the whole thing with this is you don't have to grow the entire watermelon plant upward. You can grow some of it upward. You can let some of it go on the ground, but it's just a way to let the plant get bigger in a smaller space. It doesn't have to be, right, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 100% on the ground or 100% raised.
Beautiful.
Eggplant in here. Moving right into the cantaloupe. These are inverted tomato cages that I tied together to make something for them to trellis on.
Is this a cattle panel right here?
No,
a piece of a cattle panel.
It's similar, yeah. I want to get cattle panel, but I have not been able to get a truck to get it. I want to get it to make arches. But that's nice and solid. I got them at my local hardware store, and it doesn't even have a name, so I can't say where to get that, but it's solid. I like it.
And it's so pretty. It just adds different dimension and heights. I love all the different heights that you have in here.
Even have Brussels sprouts tucked in there.
Wow, you can grow so much in here.
Yep. These are butternut squash down here, and you can
goodness.
see that they're starting to form.
This is like a gardener's paradise. I'm telling you guys.
I do like it. Now, a couple of mistakes is when I set this up and was doing my videos, I put 2 plants in here. I was supposed to thin it to 1. So there's 2 plants growing here. So it's a little, I don't know how it's going to do, but I
always
think
have
it'll be
good
all right.
intentions with that too.
I also dropped in a cucumber right here. And this one down here doesn't belong on a trellis. It's a bush cucumber. So it's loaded with cucumbers.
Oh my gosh, you have even more down there.
But they're just pickling cucumbers, and they're not going to get, the plant's not going to get much bigger than this.
You were like harvesting so much already. It's crazy.
We'll have to take them out. So yeah, so I'm kind of wasting the trellis space, but it's good for now.
Look at all these.
So I'm going to take out all the little cucumbers. The pickling ones, you want to make sure they don't get oversized. You want them about this size. And if they start getting to a weird shape and stuff like that, pick them.
Got one more over here too.
Yeah, let's pull out all the cucumbers. And the dust I use in here is Captain Jack's Dead Bug Spray. It's organic, dust. So I put in the trellises everywhere. So more watermelons in here. I'm growing beans up this. And this is just rebarb sunken in the ground. I'll show you an example when we get down further. And then this is just the PVC pipe. Shape it to the shape that you want.
I can't believe how much you're growing in here. Like every single little spare bit of space is utilized. It's really amazing. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm happy. And it's looking nice and green, and we're getting plenty of water too. So we got the beans in here. I just want to show you this real quick. This is, again, I got too many plants. I have 2 plants in here, but these are acorn squash.
Oh my gosh, that thing is huge.
So we could probably harvest that too.
Oh wow.
So
that is incredible.
And you can see 1 plant.
Can I go around and harvest it?
Yeah, go ahead, twist it off.
I've actually always wanted to grow acorn squash. I never have, so I'm going to try it next year. Or maybe I can still do it this year.
They grow really fast once they get going.
Really?
Yep.
We used to have them when I was young. My mom would we'd cook them and then put like sausage and meatballs in the middle, and they were so good.
Oh, that would be good.
Look at this.
Yeah, put that on the ground for collection.
Cool.
And then one of the things, like you're going to notice the different spots of the dust and stuff that are on here. If you have a place that has the problems with your diseases or with insects, it doesn't really matter what you use. Use whatever you feel comfortable with, but make sure you stay on a routine. If you're going to spray every 10 days, spray every 10 days. If you're going to dust every 2 weeks, dust every 2 weeks. It's more important sticking to the routine than it is picking the product, whatever you're comfortable with.
Because you've got to get the life cycle of the insects and then make sure if new ones come back, it's all taken care of, right?
Exactly, because once you might kill off the ones that are crawling, the eggs hatch and then they do as much damage.
Okay.
Exactly.
Great.
So here's the quick example. This is a 10-foot PVC pole. I think these are probably $5.
Wow.
And it's 2 foot. I always want to, I don't know if it's, I think it's rebar or rebar.
Oh, yeah, rebar, yeah.
So 2 feet, sink it in. And then you just drop this on here.
Oh,
and it's going to move.
Super sturdy.
But I have the beans in there too.
Uh-huh.
And then just another setup for the tomato plants.
It'll kind of sway in the wind. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that'll be really cool.
Well, and some of the design is the fence. Like if you look over here, you'll see the wire at 6 feet high.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to keep the deer out. And I'm thinking if there's motion in the garden too, that they might keep some of the animals away. So first year, I'm kind of learning what the animals are here, what they're going to do. So far, so good. No deer or anything. So I just built this a couple days ago, actually. I haven't done a video on it yet. So this is...
Sneak peek?
Sneak peek.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, Well, I'm going to explain the whole thing real
Yeah.
quick. So this is a bug hotel. Bricks you can get at Home Depot. They're about 70 cents. Holes in there for the good bugs to go in. Ladybugs, lacewings, toads down in the bottom here.
Oh my gosh.
And the whole key is just make sure you start off making everything level so it builds up the right way. And you just fill it with twigs. In here are going to go bamboo, pieces of bamboo that I have to cut and insert in there. We got pine cones in there, but all different places for the good bugs to get into and be protected.
Nice.
And the hope is that the lacewings and the lady beetles enjoy this space. So I'm putting
That's
in
a great
different plants.
idea.
Going to let the grass grow, let the clover grow, just kind of naturalize, and a bunch of flowers up there. And we'll see how it goes.
That's a great idea. I
Yeah.
love it. So you're basically just providing them a good environment so they want to breed and
good-
hang out here and then
Right.
help pollinate your garden and
A
eat
good,
the
safe
bad bugs.
environment. Yep. So
Wow,
I think
love
it'll work.
it.
So we got the bug hotel and flowers spaced all throughout different parts of the garden.
And the great thing is, I like how you're using different materials. It's relatively inexpensive. I mean, this
Right.
isn't that much to build. So.
Yeah, and actually,
really
and then
simple.
this is just wood, plywood, which will warp. So I covered it with aluminum foil, used some spray contact glue, and that will keep it waterproof.
Nice. Very simple.
Yep.
Rounding the corner here, the bug hotel looks like a bunch of some fruit
It
going
is.
on.
Right. So this is the other part of the garden. Actually, 3 hop vines along the fence
Oh, nice.
that I brought over from my previous garden.
Oh, that's
and again,
cool.
they will actually go 12, 18 feet tall, and they're supposed to be on a pole, but I decided to grow them on here. And again, this is also to grow hops, because I'll probably do some beer brewing, but also to create a wall so that deer won't jump over it. And then right in this whole space, these are different blueberry plants. And in the future, I'll probably have to cage over these. So the ones that are
The
being looked
birds?
at, down
Okay.
this way, these are all brought over from the last Rusted Garden.
Oh, nice.
And the ones on the other side are bare roots that I ordered back in April, and they're starting to establish now.
I have to say I'm a little bit jealous. We've had such a cloudy spring. It's been crazy. And your tomatoes are so much bigger than mine. You've got red ones in there.
These, right,
Can't believe it.
these are the first ones that I put into the ground. And again, they've been sprayed with what they need to be sprayed with on routine. But the tomatoes
Oh my
are,
gosh,
are
look at
starting to come in.
that.
I've been harvesting really for the last week, and they're all starting to pop in there now.
Beautiful. You're going to have a ton.
Yeah,
a ton.
and they were actually protected on the other side. As you go by, we might see one. But I was using glass vases to protect these in the
yeah.
winter, and not in the winter, in the spring when the frost would come and the cold weather would come. They would stay warm, and they would do okay.
Nice.
So you can
Good
get them out
idea.
early that way. And so this is the first tomatoes, and then I've staggered the tomato planting like you were talking about before, about different crops. You also want to stagger sometimes your tomatoes, your peppers, so you don't get them all at one time. You'll get them over
Yeah,
the,
then
over
what do you
the
do
season.
with them all at once?
Yep.
There's one back here I think might be ready to harvest. Is
You
it
can
okay
pick
if
it.
I pick it?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is big beef. Oh, this is an All-America Selections variety.
Yeah.
Great.
And I've been harvesting off that plant already, so it's a nice
Nice.
early tomato.
Right down in here. Oh my gosh, this is a big one. Look at this. Big and juicy and red. Can we throw this in our cucumber salad?
Right, we'll pick more and we'll do
How
that.
fun. Come to Maryland, get fresh tomatoes. This is great.
Let me take you to the 4x4 where I have the tomato grow off tomatoes.
Oh wow. Oh
All
my
right?
goodness.
So let me show you.
Oh, Gary.
All right, so
Gary.
that's the red beef steak.
Gary. Gary.
So I'll just show you in case, I don't know how well your plant's doing.
Oh my
But these are the
gosh.
red beef steaks,
Oh my gosh.
and it's nice and healthy. And I've decided,
That looks amazing.
for the red beef steak, of course, it's to let it grow to size, see what
Uh-huh.
I can get out of there. So I'm doing very light pruning.
That looks
And-
amazing. And you
yeah.
got it in this purple
Yes,
Smart
it's,
Pots here. Now, I remember, Gary, when he asked me about this, I said, it's going to grow into the ground,
it is true.
which it's doing, right?
Yeah, I don't know if we can get
roots.
this. I'm going to lift it up. If you want to come in and take a look,
It looks amazing.
and we're going to listen, actually. Do you hear the snap?
Yes.
So that's the root system is growing through the pot into the ground, and it's making a big difference.
Which is the magic thing about the fabric that I love.
Yeah. So it's right. It's not constrained to the pot. It's going through. And I forget, how many gallons is this?
I think it's, oh gosh. It's 3 square feet of growing space. I forget
Okay.
how many gallons it is.
It's large. I forgot too.
Yeah, it's
But
great.
it's plenty for the beefsteak, and you can see how well that it's doing.
That
So
looks great.
now for the big pound tomato, this is the Big Zack, which was recommended to me from viewers. They said you have to grow it, and
Wow.
If we come right down
these
here,
look big. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at that.
there's the contender so far.
Oh wow.
So it's as big as my hand.
Okay, I don't even want to show you mine or talk about mine.
So it's doing well. And again, you can see all the big Zac tomatoes on here. People want to grow this one.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's doing well. I mean, there's probably 10 tomatoes. There's more over here, under here,
Oh my
more
gosh.
up here.
Now, have you been pruning this one at all?
Bottom pruning to let the air circulate through, because again, on the East Coast, Maryland Zone 7, we get early blight, we get leaf spots. So
Okay.
you really want to have some pruning done. But as I've been doing this longer, I prune less. I prune just to kind of keep the shape,
Okay.
keep the airflow, but I don't take away too many leaves anymore. But you want a good 12-inch gap here so
Yeah,
that the
that's
airflow goes in.
great.
And I've also decided not to remove the other tomatoes, even up here. I'm just going to let the plant do what it does. Here's, 6 flowers. If you remove the tomatoes, then the theory is the few that are on there get larger. But I'm just going to let the plant do what it wants.
Let nature take its course, and you're getting really great results here too.
Yeah, I don't have the heart to just take off tomatoes that are growing.
Oh
So
yeah,
we're
no,
gonna let it
those
go.
look beautiful. Looks beautiful.
And as we go this way, I've got the tomato hedge to the right, but these are all America Selection winners.
Oh my
This is the
gosh.
Juliet, which are nice grape tomatoes. You can see hundreds of them
Oh,
on
these
there.
are beautiful.
Yep, and they're starting to turn now. But it's a wonderful plant.
I just cannot believe all the tomatoes you have. It is crazy.
And if we
Crazy.
work our way down, this is the Chef's Choice Yellow. And then we have the Chef's Choice Black is the next group. You can see all the tomatoes on there. I think that is a 2018 winner.
So the All America Selections is the perfect example of how well they really live up to their name.
Right.
I mean, they're bred for production, and they are just doing absolutely amazing. Your garden's a perfect example
And I
of
always
how they
say
should grow.
that the proof is in the plant, which
Oh, yeah.
is literal, as in the plant. And when you plant it in the ground, you see how they really do take off. And to the right is one of my 2 tomato hedges. This is a mix of determinate, indeterminate varieties, and they're just supported, through the posts, and I just weave them through the string. There's a
so
technical
simple.
name for it. Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it's just a nice weave.
And a really inexpensive way to trellis tomatoes too.
Yep, and they're doing well.
They're loaded.
Yep.
Absolutely loaded.
And and I did them in waves. So these are actually not cherry tomatoes, is the best way to describe them. There are my other varieties that I like to grow. If we come down to the right is the cherry tomato hedge, and then we'll get to,
wow.
I'm going to want to show you the insect fabric too.
Great. We'll come back to that.
These are all cherry tomatoes. And cherry tomatoes, as you know, they get out of control. So I'm doing the hedge thing again, but it's a bigger box.
I see.
There's 3 posts, 1, 2, 3, instead of just like the one down there.
Okay.
So I'm going to box it in so that it holds all the growth.
Wow.
And I forget how many are in here, maybe 15 different
my
cherry
gosh.
tomato plants. So they'll be all different colors, all different shapes and stuff like that.
It's amazing how much food you're growing here. I mean, you could literally feed several families, feed a neighborhood.
A lot of family and friends are coming by on Fridays to get the extra produce and
Oh,
stuff
that's
like
fun.
that.
You're able
So
to share it with people
so I'm
too.
sharing it with people.
That's great.
Now, and as we went through, you saw that I used the different dusts, the Captain Jacks and different sprays and stuff like that. If you want a method to not use any chemical, organic, chemical, anything, I want to show you the insect mesh over here. And this is the insect mesh that
wow.
you can take care of pests, cabbage loopers. You can see right here, if I don't move too quickly, I don't know if that's a lightning bug. Oh, it's a little cricket.
Oh my
so
gosh.
the insect mesh, also called ag fabric, will stop the cabbage loopers from getting on here. And these are red cabbages. So I have a video on this, and you're just stapling it to a piece of wood. And you can see the cabbages themselves are doing really well. That's almost ready to be
They're
picked.
huge.
The leaves are getting a little beat up because around here it's really too hot. These are cool weather crops, but these are solid.
Oh yeah.
You
What a
know,
beautiful color.
Some holes in here from earlier in the season before I put the mesh down, but they're really being left alone, and you don't have to put down any kind of dust. Now, the one thing that I talked about in the video, if you look again, you'll see the Captain Jack's dead bug dust on here.
Okay, yeah.
The reason you do that is because before you put the mesh down, you may have eggs on here. So you want to dust or spray your crop, then cover it, and make sure, like you were saying before, it cuts off the life cycle of what might be
Okay.
there.
And again, a really simple, inexpensive way to protect your vegetables from the bugs.
And if you're looking online, I don't recommend any specific mesh. Just look for one that's UV stabilized so that the sun doesn't degrade it over time.
And what about like a sheer fabric, like if you have old curtains or something like that? Would that work the same way, do you think?
You can use that.
Okay.
You can use that as long as the light can get through. This is nice, the light gets through, the water gets through, but any fabric would work. A lot of people use, I think it's called tulle from fabric stores, but that will degrade in a week or so. Or not a week or so, in a season or so because of the UV from the sun. You know, and then again, we have the trellises you were talking about.
Yeah, I love these, they're so cute.
The cucumbers, 1 or 2 plants, and also the mesh from Home Depot to put a kind of rainbow over there.
Nice.
And this is another wave of cucumbers. A lot of times when we're growing cucumbers, they end up getting problems or diseases, and we keep trying to save them and save them. If you do several plantings a couple weeks apart, when your plants get beat up, just let them go. Your new ones will be coming in, and you can start more in cups, and then you just keep an ongoing planting of cucumbers over the season. This way you're not always trying to make a dying plant healthy. You just move on.
You spread the harvest out?
Yep, and it works really well. And so for some reason I find the younger plants are more resistant to the diseases the older plants have, so it really works out. These are the Roxanne radishes that are actually growing. The temperature today is very hot.
Yes.
So they're doing, this is my 3rd planting. They're doing well in the heat, but these again are All America Selection winners, and look at the size of these radishes.
Humongous.
And they will double the size. The video that I did on them, they were twice as big as this one. But I just wanted to show you these because they're growing in heat. We can actually, you know, let's find the big ones. We'll take this one. I mean, look how big that is.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's splitting a little bit from water issue, but it's crisp and like when it starts getting warm, sometimes radishes will get pithy. These aren't. These are still crisp. They don't get over spicy or hot, and they're really delicious.
Those are beautiful. We can add those to the
We'll
salad
add it
here.
to that, yeah. So I think we covered everything.
This has been amazing, Gary. I am just stunned at how much you've gotten done in such a short period of time. It's incredible. There's so many different beautiful things to look at. And I just want to encourage people too, like you may not be able to build a big garden like Gary, but maybe you just take a small little raised bed like this.
This will work.
Do something simple and grow yourself even a couple radishes or something very easy. Just start simple, but whatever you do, just grow some veggies.
Right.
It's so worth it.
It's
such
worth
a
it.
good garden therapy just to come out here and wander around. And I've totally enjoyed it. So thank you so much for showing us around today.
And I agree. Get started. Just start small and work your way up.
So comment below, let us know what tips you liked here, what you're going to grow in your garden, and what you're looking forward to most about growing this summer. So guys, this wraps up Gary's full garden tour debut on our channel here. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.